Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
So welcome to the Stephen Shiels radio show. Today I am here with a guest speaker named Jeanette Alexander. How are you, Jeanette?
I'm great today, thank you. How are you, Stephen?
Good, Jeanette. I've noticed you did a bachelor's degree in music. What instrument did you study?
Classical singing, the voice.
What was the most challenging part of being a classical singer for yourself?
Well, it was all pretty challenging. It's different kind of singing and singing in a choir and singing, but then when you're doing it as a discipline, there's a lot more that needs to be done, the right kind of breath techniques, and it can be very challenging. I found it challenging a lot of times, and I had to really push myself to overcome these challenges.
Yeah, that's always the biggest struggle for a classical singer or a classical musician. You come across a lot of challenges. What pieces did you find the hardest for yourself?
Oh, well, I can't actually mention one in particular, but I know that being able to sing in the classical style, it takes a lot of stamina and the correct breath technique. And while I thought I was breathing properly, like from the diaphragm, like you're only the belly button kind of thing, I was often told, oh, okay, you're breathing through your throat. you're breathing not through the diaphragm. So, it seems like there's a lot of physicality with singing, and to kind of sing in the shower, it's great. Like you just do, singing, and it seems to come really easy. But then when you have to really structure your singing and have good breath support, and and also know about the music and be able to kind of read music and to have the rhythm, and it's all quite complex when you look at all the little parts that go into it.
Mm, absolutely, and that's the hardest thing for any classical musician. You've got music that's notated on the paper, and the composer wants you to play it the way it was written, and there's not much bending of the rules around. What?
Only if you have playing the piano and there's rubato or something. I did do. I had done some AMEB piano.
Mm-hmm.
Exams as well. But so that's kind of nice. And unfortunately, I'm always a little bit to kind of do my own rhythm, and to be able to be structured, that was a bit of a challenge for me too.
Yeah, did you ever find with classical you had to work on rhythm and use the metronome?
Yes, I think that's pretty good, and also clapping at the rhythm too. There's lots of different techniques, and I really wanted to learn more about music and the structure of music, and more about the modes and all that. I still have a long way to go, but it's a very complex. There's a lot of complexity in the music, but when you hear it played and sung properly, it's just divine.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get a chance to play any Wagner or Brahms when you were studying, or Mozart?
Yes, I've done Mozart, the Marriage of Figaro, and also Brahms. I'm just trying to think. It was a German piece, and V Melodian, I think. No, no, yeah, I think V Melodian. And it was quite interesting because in that one, he uses a poem, and he actually, when it comes to the music and the words, he actually repeats himself some of the words that he feels are really important. And the song actually goes on to say about, like, when he thinks about the past, he gets tears in his eyes, and he repeats that. Where in the actual poem that he based the song on, it doesn't repeat at all. So it's a very personal journey when you do sing one of Brahms' songs.
Yeah, he had that famous clarinet sonata that's quite popular. That's one of my favourite works from Brahms. Always enjoyed playing it, but it's very difficult because it's never on the beat. Even with the metronome, it's very easy to get put off with the counting. You can be a quaver or a semi-quaver behind and not even know it. It's one of those works where you need, I think, 6 months to a year to be able to play it properly, and listen to many other different interpretations out there. What was your struggle with Brahms rhythmically?
Well, first of all, it was learning the German,
Mm.
and getting the German correct, and then being out, because the music was just beautiful.
Mm.
And also, I was able to do a master class, or also look at some master class from Carnegie Hall on the same melody by a German expert with an opera singer, and that was very insightful. And he actually, even the accompanist, he was able to give some pointers to the accompanist about how to work and breathe with the piece. And there's so much to music. And as you were saying, like, unfortunately, when you're doing a bachelor degree, you've got to do so many songs per semester, and you don't really feel like I personally don't feel like I can give it enough justice in just having to race through like 6 songs or something like that to get it right for an exam or something like that. So yeah, that could be one of the problems that I kind of faced as well.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose that's quite normal when you have a semester of, I think it's 12 weeks, 14 weeks, and you've got to play a huge work that requires a lot of stamina and patience and concentration. It was. I was always told, well, you weren't ready to play Brahms at your level of clarinet playing. You should wait till your postgrad.
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing is, like, it has a lot to do with muscle memory too. And I find that, when you're a musician, muscle memory takes a long time to kind of learn and to kind of absorb it, you might say, into your psyche. Well, how did you find when you were learning pieces?
Find it quite. I think it was mentally exhausting. I did because listening to 5 different recordings and one clarinetist will play it a bit under tempo, the other will play it faster, and then you think, I'm getting confused here. And it was like, bugger it, I just want to play it the way I want to play it, but unfortunately when you've got a panel and you do an exam, no, we want you to play it in that one style with the articulation. That's what gets hard about it.
Yeah, I agree completely.
But when
and how did you go with breast support then, playing clarinet?
Very difficult. Had to have a very good reed. If the reed was very hard, forget it. I think too with phrasing as well, holding breath for 4 beats before you can get a quick and then play again. So that was difficult as well. But I suppose I would drill it out so much, but always find it was the first movement of his clarinet sonata. Always struggled with it, but there was a couple of movements where I played it fine. But even a professional clarinetist still has to fine tune it as well.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? some of the structures of the music and the musicality, some of it can be so easy, and then other things can be so, oh gosh, it's just really hard to get that, or to, descending from one note to the other, or ascending. What made you choose the clarinet?
It's just something that I was good at naturally. Actually, funny about clarinet, I played guitar and then tried to play the violin, very bad at it. Didn't get along well with my teacher. You know, and
I tried the guitar, so
yeah.
I started off with the guitar, and no, I just couldn't get my fingers on all those strings. So it's difficult, but I really admire people that can play the guitar.
Yeah, guitar's fun, and so I think I was more suited to be a woodwind player. But in school, I played in a school band, tried to play the cornet, or sort of like a trumpet, but could never tighten my lips properly to tune it. It was always flat all the time.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, because it's a little bit like being a singer, isn't it? Because it all depends on that breath control. At least, pianos, like once they're tuned, the pianist doesn't have to worry about is it going to sound right? Am I at the right pitch? They just have to play the right notes. Perhaps I'm oversimplifying it.
No, I think you're right, because I played recitals where the piano was a bit off, and it was something you just had to put up with. And yet, practice so much with a chromatic tuner, and it's dead set in tune, 440 kilohertz, or 441 if you want to, and then you play a piano that hasn't been tuned for 1 year on a Yamaha, and it sort of throws you off. Oh, I've got to, re-pitch those open throat notes as well, so that was quite difficult as well for me.
Yeah, can imagine. Yeah.
But since your musical journey, you've become a psychologist, have you?
No, I was a psychologist before, and I love psychology, but I think that music and psychology go very well together.
Yeah.
And it's not just I think a lot of people think about music therapy, but it's not, because it's like the harmonics, and it's the breath, and there's a lot of things that go on, when people are singing. I think that being able to sing and being able to hum a tune, or get the confidence to go and have a voice lesson, I think helps people a lot to overcome anxiety and be able to feel more confident about themselves. And I think that one of the things I like to do is to kind of introduce more singing as a singing teacher, as well as my psychology as well. But so they use music for trauma as well, to be able to, because trauma gets stored in the muscle, and so that when you're kind of moving and singing and things like that, it can kind of unlock and restore a lot of the inner balance to the body. And of course, there's, as I said, like the vibrations of the music, different pitches. I always am quite astounded. Like, you can be feeling quite, on a level normal, and then you can hear a really sad piece of music, and you just kind of you can feel the music, and it just makes you feel a certain way, and it does kind of change your emotions and things. I don't know, do you sometimes feel that way when you play a piece or listen to a piece?
I do feel that way, actually, especially with romantic composers. Always feel some sort of passion involved with it, and I think you're right about emotion and the brain as well, and that's what music can be, good for.
Definitely, and it's just marvelous. Like, I also teach a lot of breath techniques and meditation, relaxation techniques, and it's amazing. Like, with the breath and having the right kind of beats and right kind of background music, and it really helps you to kind of just get into that kind of what I call the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our relaxation part of our body. And so I think music to me really helps us to, it can either kind of motivate us to feel more energetic, or it can actually kind of help us to kind of slow down a little bit and chill out as well.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I mean, classical music is very good for the brain as well and the mind. I think if students, I think when students played a musical instrument in school, they actually performed much better in other academic sort of work as well.
Yeah, they do say that and also if you learn from an early age, it opens up different parts of the brain and neurons. And when you're learning a new piece or anything new, you get more neurons in your
Hmm.
brain, and it kind of enhances mathematical skills and a lot of other skills, which is great. Because you have to count, you have to beat. It's also very good for people as they get older. If they learn a piano. Also, if people have got Alzheimer's or some of those Huntington diseases and things like that, they've actually shown that given music, they can actually move when the music's playing, where normally they can't. And of course, people that are older, the older music that they were familiar with when they were younger, it also motivates them with lovely memories as well. So music, it's just, we don't really, I think, value it enough sometimes.
Yeah, I truly believe that, no matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what instrument, if you really want to do it and you put the work in, you can get there. But you may not play professionally, but you can play it to a high standard. I believe you can do that. You know.
Yes, well, so this morning I have a choir at church, and of course, because of COVID, we can only have 5 singers,
Mm.
and spaced 1.5 meters apart. But it was, and of course, the people in the church, the parishioners can't sing still, but I'm sure that's going to change soon. So, but it was lovely. We had like one of the old fashioned, it was actually from the 9th century, O Come, Emmanuel,
Mm.
which is beautiful piece. It's one of my favourites. But then we ended up with a really modern one of using guitar and a really good kind of upswing beat. So, it's just great, and it kind of really enhances people's spirituality as well and their experience, especially like some people that might be living by themselves and just come to church and they want a bit of fellowship as well, so that can kind of help them with their mood as well.
Mm. Yeah, well, during the COVID lockdown, did you manage to practice singing, or how did you do your rehearsals on Zoom? How did you cope with it?
Well, we did some things on Zoom, and then for a while, of course, there was no choir work at all, so there was no singing,
Mm.
and that was pretty sad. But and so when it was able to start it up, of course, all the care was taken, and to be able to come together. And we always kind of send out the music that's ahead of time so people can kind of practice a little bit. But sometimes it's just unfortunately coming together for the hour and trying to practice 3 songs and trying to get it to performance standard for the church. But it's a lot of fun, and we all love it. And then also, like, I'm still doing extra study in my singing, and that's always great too. So I just love it, and I'm fortunate to be in a atmosphere with my church that there's a lot of really good, proficient musicians of a high standard that I'm able to learn from as well, and we're able to kind of sing more classically inspired sacred music.
Yeah, it's always good to sing a lot of classically inspired work, especially from classical era. Um, No, did you with your music in the church? Do you get to experiment with any Bach?
Yes, we do. We've got sometimes what's called a combined choir, where we either for Christmas or for Easter, um, we all come together, and there's usually quite high level, um, you know, Bach, Requiem, um, also like a lot of like the Hallelujah chorus and a lot of quite classical ones that you might not hear every day in a church. So as I said, I'm been very fortunate to be in an atmosphere where there's a lot of really good musicians, a lot of other people that kind of have groups that we all come together and we're able to sing and sing some of these beautiful classical songs, sacred songs. It's beautiful.
Mm. It's always good to do something in a community. I think. Um, I know during the COVID-19 lockdown, it was quite a depressing time because everything was just shut. You know.
Yes, yeah, it's so true. And it was really unusual because, I like to kind of go for a walk and sit down and have a coffee. And like, no, you can't sit down here and, you can't sit down there. And it's like, oh my gosh, that was really difficult.
I know.
Yeah, and then also like when you're wearing a mask, you can't kind of smile at people. So it just seemed like you were being really rude to them.
Mm.
And of course, you don't want to kind of, so it was quite difficult, but it was something that would, in Australia, we're pretty lucky that we haven't had the scourge of what they've had overseas. And, but I try to be mindful, and, keep my distance and make sure that I'm kind of healthy and well if I'm going to go out. And I think hopefully, people become more considerate of each other as well because of this.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be around forever. You know.
Well, yeah, well, I guess that's the thing. Like, it's one of those shocks of life. Like, I would never have thought that they would have closed schools and closed, more or less shops sometimes and closed businesses. I never ever dreamed that I would, ever see that, but we have, and we've kind of gone through it now. So it's kind of amazing that, if you just, I think we can all go through any kind of calamity if we just kind of keep our cool, keep our balance, and have some really good interests like music that we can keep ourselves occupied with.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, well, music is the best thing to do anyway. During the hard times. I don't know. There's something about it that just keeps me going, and anyone else out there who whether you're writing or playing covers, just something about it. I mean, it sucks we couldn't go to any live concerts, but I think a few were doing it over Zoom, but it's just not the same doing it virtually. It just sucks.
Yeah, but I love the ingenuity of how people kind of rose to the occasion, and how sometimes even choirs got together, even though in different places, and tried to put some sort of choral work together, or musicians, as you said, with more modern music. So I just love how sometimes, a bit of a dilemma, a bit of a problem, and people are using ingenuity to still kind of communicate. And we've done a lot better than what it would have been 100 years ago when they had the pandemic there, because we've got so much, communication. We've got Zoom and things like that. So, I guess this was the best century to have a pandemic if we were ever going to have one.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Zoom became very popular as in 2020, but I went to a live concert last Saturday night at the Kiros Bank Arena. I just saw some contemporary musicians. That was the best Saturday night of my life since the pandemic.
Yeah, there's nothing like live music and, being there in the process of music being made. So I think that everyone's going to really enjoy that, when they can get out there and do it more. And I think also to musicians themselves, because I know that they've been struggling with not being able to play. I think a lot of them have had a lot of sometimes money problems because of that. But, it's hopefully they've been able to survive and be able to get going again and, rejoin the music scene.
Yeah, hopefully.
The live music scene.
Hopefully 2021 will be back to normal, I hope.
Yeah. Well, in psychology, we always say, what is normal?
Normal is going to concerts and enjoying life, not virtual concerts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. So, it is kind of good. What are you looking forward to most next year besides going to concerts?
I think, being able to go to a restaurant and not having to check in all the time, going back to the local library and, don't have to check in. You can only visit the local library for a max of 2 hours a day now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, our local one. And so, and just life like it was in 2019.
Yeah, well, it's going to be the end of this year when we're kind of saying goodbye to 2020 and welcoming 2021. It's going to be like, wow, what happened? It's just going to be like, I don't believe what happened this year. It's just like amazing. But as I said, borders being shut. I mean, who would have ever thought about that? But it's happened. And and then also about the quarantines and people coming from overseas and, all the different things we've had to kind of learn. This new one thing I do like is I love all the sanitization or the things where you can wash your hands, because when I'm out and I want to eat something, there's always something to wash my hands with now, where before you didn't have that. Just a little side bit.
Yeah, it's I've noticed that too. Things are a bit more cleaner as well, which is good.
Yeah.
But well, it'll be history next year. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Probably in my time, I don't know, 20, 30 years down the track, I'll look back at 2020 as like, oh my God.
Gosh. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of songs written. Yeah, we won't be forgetting it for, it will be still with us for a while.
But it was a year that I managed to publish my work on Spotify as well.
Lovely.
So
That's
I was
great.
able to do that. But, Jeanette, thanks for the interview today.
My pleasure.
Jeanette, where can people find you on social media?
Well, I've got a Facebook page under Janet Alexander. I've also got one on music. So usually and also you can do a Google search for Janet Alexander and usually find all the different things that I'm associated with. And as I said, I'm on Facebook, and also I have got a music page, and I'm also the chairperson of the Randwick and Spot Chamber of Commerce too. So I'm very interested in community. I'm very visible.
That's
also as a psychologist.
Yep. All right, thank you to Jeanette Alexander for today's interview on the Stephen Shiels radio show. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast so you get notified of when new episodes are available. I'm also on YouTube as well. I've just published Death and Life music video and Judas. Check those out. Links in the description. Follow Jeanette Alexander on social media. Right now I'm going to play you my second single that I published this year in 2020 called Broken Heart for solo piano. Enjoy. See you in the next show.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool. Only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.